All right. Okie dokie. All right. So, all I can say is I hope this is playing on the right channel that I have. One moment. Just want to check this. Yes, it is. Okay, let's go. Kia ora, everybody. So one of my desires for this new chapter of mine was to jam live on YouTube more often and just put content out on YouTube because one, there was a bit of a driver there. I actually struggle to make content and put them into reels because it's just too short, right? And what I have to say takes a lot more than 90 seconds. All right. So that is my personal driver for coming and jamming on YouTube. I put up the slide here behind me just so that I can just introduce myself and also yeah, in these videos as you watch or as you sit and yarn, that they kind of there is a reminder of what the mission is for me, yeah, what the mission is behind these teachings. So I'm just going to start from like the top and then we'll work our way down. Well, actually no, we'll start at the bottom actually, over there with my name. Jade Binioni. Jade Varupana Binioni is my name. I am of Aitutakian and Maori descent. I am Maori. I am Aitutakian, and if you're tuning in and not knowing where I am talking about, so I whakapapa to Aotearoa, which is otherwise known as New Zealand, um, and the Cook Islands. Um, I personally, anyway, we won't go there. So Aitutaki, one of the Cook Islands, is also where I am from. I did not grow up in Aitutaki, and I have, I grew up in Aotearoa. So I am mindful of that, and I'm on that journey to reclaiming that connection, just and those practices of my people. And something I'm doing right now is a bit of art. I was putting off these YouTube videos because I've got so much mahi toi art to do. If I turn this camera, I'm probably going to wreck things, but I've got a whole bunch of earrings that I'm putting together that art is my meditation, and it's actually turned into a bit of a another side business because women all around the world are like, we want your earrings. So I am doing that. And I was putting off these YouTubes because I had so much art to do, but I was like, you know what, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be done, right? And so I've just put up a backslide. I'm here. And I'm going to do my art at the same time, if you don't mind, because I need to kill two birds with one stone. All right. So, yes, I am Jade Varapana Binioni. I, whakapapa to Aotearoa and Aitutaki. And I currently live in Naarm, otherwise known as Melbourne, in so-called Australia. Now, I've been here for 14 years. Yeah, and kind of like, not kind of, grew up a lot here. Yeah, came over here when I was very young, 19, and yeah, with $1,000 and a hope and a dream. And yeah, kind of just built my life here. And what's happened in the last, I would say, 3 years was a period of, really being called to my culture. When I first came over here, I was like, oh, I didn't really see what my culture could really do for me here in Australia, so-called Australia. Um, yeah, I was kind of like, meh, don't really need it. It's not really of use. And then over the last 3 years, yeah, there's just been this portal, this opening, this awakening, um, of really reclaiming my language that I spoke at school, that I was passionate about it at kura, at school, and when I was back home, very proud. But yeah, kind of when you get stuck into the doings of life, um, our culture, our practices, our tikanga, because they don't fit in this world all that much, yeah, they really get put on the back burner, which is, you know, and we spend all this time and energy like going out there to get all these things that a lot of the source of what we're seeking as we work and hustle and build these lives is lies in our culture, lies in our tikanga, lies in our communities, lies in our in who we are as Indigenous people. And so that was that was like the bit of a laugh I had, was that, all of the stuff that I had done just led me back to like all of these things I set out to do, build my coaching business, build an online presence and really help people online, build my career, change my life, really like build boundaries and all of this stuff. All of that like led me back um to my culture, to my language, at my own pace, I may add, um, to my people, and you know, to being in service um, to those who would look and hear and see me and go, oh, she's the sis, like she's like me, and for me to be in service to people that would look at me and go, yep, I resonate with her, and going on this journey of really reclaiming who I am as an Indigenous woman. Never thought I would have done that. Never. Never thought I would have, in 20, like if you had told me in 2020 that in 2022, you would be a fair stand for your people, you would have revealed your moko kauai, um, that you would completely slow, if not stop your business to really indigenize it, for it to be an integrity for you, like you would really blaze this trail forward and really stand for indigenizing your space and environment and help others to do the same, I'd say, fuck off, mate. Like I'd be like, no, what? No, no. No, you got the wrong girl, because I was so busy hustling and doing all the things that I couldn't see this for myself. And my soul, my wairua was like, okay, we'll just let you have your fun. But you know what? You know what's got me here? Listening. Listening. Um I don't argue with where I'm asked to go or what I'm asked to do. I just listen. And when I know, I go, you know, meaning when I can hear it, I go. And that's it. So the point of this video, in these videos, is for me to just jam with you. You can always skip forward, you can always click the X button and go watch something else. Like, YouTube is the place where we come to give our attention. So, you know, if you're feeling this, if you're like, yeah, like she's on some shit, then, you know, we're gonna jam. You're probably gonna watch hours and hours of my stuff, bless you, you know, and take the wisdom. from it. I'm not going to edit this shit and be like, just try and give you the nuggets of wisdom in like a 2-minute 30 video. No. That's just thirsty and impatient, right? I don't even know what the wisdom is until it comes out of my mouth, you know? And you will find wisdom in things that I will probably think are not even wise, you know? That's how it goes. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to give each other our presence and our time, and from it, we're gonna grow wise, right? So just making some earrings and multitasking, but I just want to complete the background here. So that's who I am. That's who I come into the world as. Is Jay Varapana Binioni, Māori, Otatakian, and yeah, kind of just been forging my path ever since a young age. Like, yeah, it's kind of just been the way. I'll probably touch more on that a little bit later, but I want to get cracking. Unearth Your Worth, it didn't used to have the flower on it, but as I made the slide, I really like the flower under it. Both of those designs I designed. My flower, the pixels on my flower are a little bit shit, I must say. I better touch that up. But Unearth Your Worth is you could say my business, right? It is what houses everything that I do, and I do quite a few things, and that's okay. So Unearth Your Worth I created back in 2016, and that originally was my coaching business. Yeah, and it was designed to help out people unearth their worth. You know, people were settling and struggling and sacrificing this and that, and the work that I was doing was about helping them to unearth what more they are worth. And it still is. That is still my work. It's just that it's just nothing. That's still my work. It's just that I've had a heavy association to the word coach, and I'm really just stripping back those layers, and blooming into just being more than a coach. Which then brings me to the Indigenous Influencer, which is a title that I have self-proclaimed myself as, and just a bit of a costume that I'm wearing at the moment, you could say. The flower inside of Unearth Your Worth represents my art. It represents, creation, art. I believe that Unearth Your Worth without me practicing my art was hustle and force. As women in business, when we are just hustling and forcing stuff, it's not good. And having a practice, for me, this is my practice, having a practice like art and taking that time to completely switch off really allows me to clear out my system, and come back into my body. Without that, you've just got someone who's out of their body, in their mind, hustling and forcing, and that's just not, it's not pretty. It's not pretty, y'all. Busy is not pretty. And it's not you get it. So yeah, the flower really represents now for me moving forward, that balance between getting out the shovel and doing the work and creating the things to help people, and also taking care of myself and taking care of my own hinenaro, my own mind, my own wairoa, my own spirit, and my own heart as well. Awesome. So Indigenous Influencer, what is that about? All right. That's my costume right now, right? Superman has got a costume. Wonder Woman has got a costume. Benioni has got a costume, and this is my costume. It's the Indigenous Influencer. It's picture me in a tracksuit, hoodie, that is colored the same as this background, that's my costume. It's my superhero costume. That's what I look like. I look like a colorful, flamboyant gangster in a tracksuit, wearing some kicks, you know, or jandals, whatever, and going through life empowering Indigenous leaders to take up space. Because you see, I've gotten to this point where this, you know, and I'll explain this over subsequent videos, but this is where it's at. Okay. A little bit about taking up this, a little bit about taking up this space for me. If you know Noam Chomsky, he is an American scholar. Some call him the father of linguistics. And he is an activist, a political advisor, yeah, and a very renowned scholar, he's gangster. And he talks about social issues, okay, and one of the things he says, and I put up his quote often, is that, you know, Indigenous people are the only thing, you know, standing between like the destruction of this place. Like, Indigenous people will save the world because we give a shit about, like, and it's not like we actually inherently in our bones, in our DNA, give a shit about the planet, the people, this place. You know, the place that we're in. We know our place. We know our place. Indigenous people, we know our place. We give a shit about the planet and the people on it. And that's something we can't turn off as much as we try. We can try go out there and be, you know, corporate millionaire, blah, 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 climb these ladders. But at the end of the day, when your auntie says, get in there and wash those dishes, you jump. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a sign that you are Indigenous. And you give a shit about your place. And you give a shit about about the planet and the people. Because if you don't get in there and do them dishes, boy, shit's gonna pop off. Anyway, that was just a bit of a boom, you know, pattern interrupt, just because we're getting in there, getting into it, you know. So for my own self, and I'll talk about this in subsequent videos, I know the truth of that statement, that Indigenous people, you know, are the answer. Now, whether or not we'll save the world, because here's another thing, we also don't give a shit. No, we don't give a shit, but we also understand that if nature were to have its way with humans, and this world were to, you know, be no more, like the dinosaurs, would also understand that. Like, we understand that. We understand that it's, well, I understand, and I'm here to share this. Like, I understand, like, Papatūānuku's assignment. Like, if we are playing up too much, we're gone. Okay? Because, and we're doing that. Now, everyone is out here like, global warming this, global warming that, we're killing the planet, we're killing. You arrogant, excuse my language, you know? Like, how arrogant are we to say that we are killing her, Papatūānuku, our mother, the earth. Like, we can't even stand in a volcano, right? We will melt. We can't even like hold our breath underwater for like 3 minutes. We will drown. Okay? And we have the audacity to say we are killing her? No. Let us be clear about what we're saying. We're killing ourselves We're killing the planet that we are living on. Therefore, it's not going to be sustainable for us to live on it. Tabutoa Nuku's all right. She'll just kick us off and start again, right? She'll just have a haircut, get rid of all the kutus in it, and then move on. She's fine. It's we that are not, you know? And I think we know that. Like, we know our place on it, on the earth. And look, we're not all perfect either, you know? We're not all perfect. But we're under no illusion that, like, yeah, this is bigger than us. Anyway, this conversation's going to the wild, wild west, and I love it. And I trust you are as well. So we've got these inherent knowings about us as Indigenous people. And it's those knowings that I want to wake up, rattle, provoke, call out. Because the wisdom that sits inside an Indigenous person who has something to say is eons more impactful, powerful, punchy, meaningful, ecological on so many levels than coming from someone who is not Indigenous or doesn't live that way of life, who hasn't, you know, who is not a human being on this planet and has been brought up on in those ways. And just for a minute, I just want to call out my ancient gangsters. Y'all know who you are. More so, I know who you are. We know who you are when we feel you. So there's a term which is allies. I don't really use it or like understand it, but allies are people who are, you know, don't identify as Indigenous, that support and really champion and stand beside Indigenous peoples in the respective places that they are in. Now, some people have concerns about this word, label, mission of an ally, yeah, and you know, what does it mean to be a good ally, that kind of thing. Well, for me personally, ally seems a bit, you know, 2022. And personally, I want to take it back a notch. For me, when I feel somebody who stands beside and knows how to stand behind an Indigenous community, as someone who identifies as white or European, they, to me, are ancient. And you can feel it. They know their place. They're an ancient Cody tree, and you can feel it. They know their place. They have a deep respect for this planet and the people on it, and you can feel it. And they also know the importance and the power of Indigenous people, and they stand behind that, literally. And it's beautiful. These are my ancients. When you hear me talk about my ancients, my ancient gangsters, to which I've met to whom I have met a few. I've crossed paths with a few on my journey, of course, naturally. You know, yeah, these are my ancients. These are my ancient gangsters. They're not allies. They're ancient in their soul as well. And that's exactly what we are as Indigenous people. We're old. We're ancient. You know, the wisdom that runs through our bones is ancient. And it's alive here today simply because we carry on because we are of that blood. We are practice those, we continue to practice that tikanga, those practices, those our languages, our songs, our dances. That's how it stays alive. And yet I fucking thought that my culture was of no use. Wow. Mm. It makes me a little bit sad. Yeah. So, Indigenous influencer, empowering Indigenous leaders to take up space simply by me being who I am and showing people you can be who the fuck you want to be. Okay? Whoever it is that you dream about being, that you dream about saying, go out and say it. You can. You're allowed. Let's go. So that is the mission. That's me. That's what I'm up to. All right. Hmm. Got a bit of a paper here that I wrote out today with a few notes. I can't see it. A few notes anyway that I thought I might wanted to talk that I want to talk about. But because it's like an intro, I want to keep talking about where my where my rejuvenated connection to my culture and to us as Indigenous people has come from. Um, September, end of September, I attended WIPSI, which is the World Indigenous Peoples Conference on Education. And before I attended WIPSI over in Kurna country, which is otherwise known as Adelaide, in so-called Australia, um, before I attended that space, there was a whole lot of planning that went into it because myself, my partner, my mother, and one of my sisters, we traveled over together. So there was a whole lot of planning and we had bought our tickets months prior. And as soon as we bought our ticket, um, and decided that this is what we're going to be a part of, things naturally started to take shape and take form. And that's the beautiful thing about commitments. This is what I saw a lot in my coaching days and spaces, which is that when people make the commitment to change happens. And the commitment was things like putting down deposits, you know, signing contracts and putting down deposits and saying, yes, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to dedicate myself to. I'm going to dedicate myself to change. And so the same was for WIPSI. As soon as we put down those deposits, said we were going to go, it was about $1,500 for a ticket. Oh no, 1,000 because we got the early bird prices. Things started to change. And one of them was, I felt this deep longing to reveal my moko kauai. And I remember waking up one morning, and I messaged my mum, and I was like half asleep in the morning. And I messaged her and I said, "Oh, if you can you message Fire, um, and see if she's, available after Granddad's unveiling." Now, she knew what that meant. It meant I'm saying after Granddad's unveiling, I think it's time that I reveal my moko kauai. Can you ask if she's free? And we go down and do it. Within that day, it was sorted. And because I had messaged when I was half asleep, I was like, when I was like up and about doing my day and my mum was messaging me and all the puzzle pieces were falling into place, I was getting scared. I was like, oh no, you know. Um, and I was kind of scared all the way up until September the 26th when we went over to Kurna country and attended WIPSI. I was scared up until that point. I was my mind was letting me like believe that I had some, I could get out of this choice that I had made. And sure I could absolutely, you know, say no, I wasn't going to go through with it, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But when I was honest with myself, the only reason why I was not going to receive my moko kauai is because of what other people thought. And especially me, being in service to tech companies, and being in sales as well for these tech companies, um, it was just a lot to process about like me being in that space and still doing what I do very well for them, like helping them win in my own Benioni style way, in a very natural way. And this was now going to include me fully as who I am in these companies. And I was shitting myself about those conversations. Well, it turned out that before I received my moko kauai, just before I went to Whoopsie, I accepted a new job. I accepted a new position at Zoom. And yes, Zoom is in what I'm streaming on here with and what you have attended many times over the course of the COVID. Um, I took this position and they offered it to me pretty much straight away after my interviews. I went through a pretty rigorous set of interviews and yeah, they offered me the job. And I said, my response was, before I accept, do you know what a moko kauai is? She said no. She didn't understand, but if I could write an email, I said, sure, I can write an email. And I wrote an email and I included a picture of Nanaia Mahuta, and other wahine, other esteemed wahine, in the public eye back home in Aotearoa. And I wrote that email from my heart and I said, I said, I am writing this email to let you know that, through my interview process, I had my appearances looked a certain way, but if I do accept this role, and on the first day, my appearance will be enhanced, and I want you to understand the meaning for me behind that. And out of courtesy, I am like letting y'all know what this means, because I understand that in Australia it might not be common knowledge, and I'm all about full transparency. Yeah. And so I wrote that email, and I was not in any way asking, is this all right? I was writing that email to see what their response was. And the response I got back, I could feel like you reading an email. So, I mean, you could say, oh, you don't want to read into it too much. But when I got that email back, I could tell that there was respect there for it. There was not a full amount of understanding, like just the way they worded some things. It was like, we fully respect the culture, it's like, but they were trying and there was a respect there for it. And I was like, whoa. Yeah. And just every day since, it's just been so, open and welcoming to, there's been just like an awe of like the moko kauai that I wear, and being in these spaces, in this tech space, in a global company, may I add. And that scared me in September. And now today it's the source of my inspiration and my moko kauai, and just me really knowing that I really like really like just went for it. The whakatauki that comes to mind is let me just remind myself, tu whitia te hopo, like really feeling that fear and going for it anyway. Yeah, tu whitia te hopo is a whakatauki from the book Aroha by Dr. Hinemoa Elder, that I have been, nibbling away at, and this is one of the whakatauki that I have nibbled away at this week. And it's come up time and time and again, and I actually shared that whakatauki inside of our team meeting today, when I was asked what because personal development is big, for the leaders of Zoom. They encourage you to read, to take time out of your schedule to make sure that you put in personal development hours, listen to podcasts, read books, things like that. And I shared this whakatauki and this book as well, by Dr. Hinemoa Elder. And I said, and I explained what it was. It's just so cool to be Māori in these spaces. And that's what I'm talking about when I say just me being who I am and doing the crazy shit that I'm up to, that's the thing. That's the thing that I trust will empower other leaders to step up and take up space wherever they are. This is not about everybody becoming the next, like, you know, I'll give you this. When I first started out my coaching business, I was like, I want to be the Oprah of New Zealand. And that was like a bit of a mission for me. Like, that was a guiding mission for me for many years. I want to be the Oprah of New Zealand. Now I don't, there's been many times where I'm like, now I just want to be me, y'all. And I just want to encourage other people to be them, like full stop, you know? And that's what I mean. Like, this is not about us, becoming like these rich and famous like people to have impact, to take up space. It's simply about us being who we are, you know, being our fullest expression in the world, letting our full expression take up that space wherever we are, and through whatever we're doing. I was, just to carry on explaining this inspiration for this movement and for this costume that I'm wearing as the Indigenous influencer. I had two of my sisters who, are my sisters, and they were, clients of mine for a while. They come over to my house, May and Megs, and we took this drive over to Brunswick to go and support Black business here in Naarm and go shopping. We went to go shopping at one of their pop-up shops. Yeah, and anyway, we're in the car and we were like yarning, we were talking about and just catching up on what's been what. And the girls were just talking about, how they've been going at their workplaces and all the rest of it, and just listening to them how they indigenize, like just walk in there and just fuck shit up because they're just like got boundaries, and they're just like, oh no, like, no, I will not be sitting at my desk doing overtime and not taking lunch and shit like that. Like, yes, we will be getting up and going for damn lunch and going sitting outside in the sunshine when everyone else is like, oh, but we're so behind. And, the girls, like, the sisters just like, so? Like, the way she put it was like, let's be honest, we're not saving lives here. Get your ass up and let's go for lunch. I was like, oh, yes, really indigenizing that space, and the biggest, buzziest thing was having worked with these wahine, this was not the attitude, that they done came in with when we first started working. They were kind of like a little bit more timid, not as vocal, you could say. So just listening to this transformation right before my um, ears, was just phenomenal. And that was such a great, like, that was a deep sense of like inspiration for me, because I'm like, this is what it's about. We don't have to be Oprahs to take up the space and create change and indigenize our spaces. We just need to be indigenizing the spaces that we are in. The other sister that was in the car, May, she was talking about how she loves her 9 to 5, and she is a healer. Like, she runs spaces and works with cacao and all the rest of it, and she just hasn't been feeling called at all at whatsoever to like do all these paid spaces. She just wants to like buy the cacao, do the ceremonies, like bring healing and connection to people, but she doesn't want to have to like charge for it every single time. Not because she's afraid of selling, but just because it's not what's in her heart, and she really just wants to hold them for holding them. Like, that's her medicine, that's her gift. And because she loves her 9 to 5. Like, she don't need to make money off of, like, she doesn't want to leave her 9 to 5 ever at all. Like, she loves it. She works with people when they're going through some of the hardest times of their life, grief, death. She works at a funeral home, and she brings a sense of comfort to these people, and she fucking loves it. So she's not leaving ever. Like, and so she doesn't want to like make a whole bunch of money off her business. And it was just the way she was talking about like her job and the reverence that she has and the respect that she has for people, and and you know, the trails that she's blazing inside of that, you know, inside of that space, you know, that that to me is like that to me is that's the big work. You know, it's the small things. It's all of us indigenizing our spaces, right? That's that's what makes the big things. That's what makes the big things. I was recently innocently, a bypassing comment was made to me that something or other of what I will be involved with, you know, it won't change laws, it won't like change government. And I thought to myself, doesn't need to, because if the people and their values change, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what, you know, what governments try to do. If the people change their value system, build their self-esteem, and have better boundaries, and know their fucking worth, then we've got a whole different kind of world that we're looking at there. That's the truth. So, what's on my page left here to talk about? Ah, Indigenous and business. Okay, all right. I have been out of action. This is a bit of a Barney bag conversation, by the way. You just kind of will just pull out stuff and you get what you get. Yeah. But I have been heavily out of action. Where am I here? Where am I here? Where am I? One moment, please. That. Doing my earrings. Hold on, I need to count. Yep. I've been out of action most of this year. You know, my first year in business, I ran at a loss. That's 2016. Second year in business, I ran at a smaller loss. Third year in business, I was 10K in profit, which means that I made a whole lot more than 10K, if you know what that means. And in my second year, I was 20K plus in profit, which means I made a lot of money in business, you know. And then I went back to being of service in corporate companies and selling for them. So I went back to work end of 2021 and couldn't understand with my mind why I did that. Trying to tell myself, oh, it's because you know, you're just looking for safety or the rest of it, which is, you know, there could have been elements of that. And there was, but it was for a bigger reason. I was like, yeah, I'm you know, we're past that. Like, we're past the whole, I'm so like crippled by fear of not having enough that I'm going to go back to work. Like, I think we're a little bit past that. I think there was something bigger to this lesson. Like, yes and no. Like, yes, I just want to make some money and not have to hustle all the time. But also, like, yes, there were some deeper lessons to be learned going back to work. So yeah, like, I literally didn't actively build my business this year. And I've spent so much time going, oh, what am I doing? You know, like, I was trying to like get back into the hustle. My body was like, no, nope, not gonna happen. We're not about that life right now. And I couldn't get it. I couldn't understand it. I'm like, why not? You know, I can't just throw in this business. I need to do it. Nope. And what I realized is that I needed to observe what was going on, how I had done business over the last, you know, 5 years, and how it was going to be moving forward. Spent so much time tripping about, oh, I'm not doing anything in my business. What does this mean? I was having a bloody breakdown, mate. I was like, oh no, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? what I needed to be doing was shutting up and just seeing what was going on. And that's exactly what I did. I was just observing. I just needed to shut up and observe what has been, where I'm at, and where I'm going now. So, what does it look like to be in business as an Indigenous influencer? What does that mean? What am I doing? You know, how do I make money? Because this is one of the biggest questions I had was, how do you make money as an Indigenous person who is who with Indigenous values, the concept of money doesn't really like fit in there to our world view, okay? Like profits and revenue and all that, it doesn't, like, not really the buzz, if you know what I mean. Um, so a question that I had been sitting with for myself was, how do you make money and be resourceful as an Indigenous person? Because it kind of goes against, our value sets. And the thing that I knew to be true was that when something doesn't quite align, you need to see how you can link your values to that thing. You first, and I was just actually using this today, actually. So if something doesn't quite align, you need to link it to your values. Okay. A good example of that is if a job doesn't align, well, you link it to your values and you be grateful because it's paying your bills just for the moment, so you don't do something crazy like run off, quit the next day, and then like have no savings and then not be able to pay your bills. Like that would be irresponsible. So you link that shit to your values and you get grounded and then you decide what you're going to do next, like maybe find something else. Okay. That would be a bit more resourceful. Same thing here. It's like, how do I link? I don't even know what in the shit I was talking about. Yes, linking values, money. So money, the concept of money doesn't inherently like naturally fall under our worldview as Indigenous people because we have so much like evidence and just um like evidence of money being like the roots, the cause of like greed, coming from greed and all the rest of it. And like, yes, there are those motherfuckers out there that live that way and do that way, like big corporate. But what I've learned, even having like the the privilege of being inside of Zoom, okay, and this organization, this corporate tech company, okay, is that no, like, yeah, they're about making their money, but they also care. Like at the heart of everything is care. They care, deliver happiness. It's so in alignment with who I am. And yes, they're about making their money and their revenue, but it's about delivering happiness. And when I think about it, I'm like, what am I actually selling? Is this connected? I'm like, are my headphones connected? I'm like, what am I actually selling at Zoom? I'm like, I'm selling that meeting that you were all like, that I was able to join for like numerous funerals when there was a pandemic. I'm able to make this presentation and stay connected with people when and give healing and give, you know, empowerment when we were all up shit creek. That's what I'm selling. That's the company that I'm working for. Like, wow. Now, linking values, I'm just not sure if this headset's working. So linking values to yoo-hoo, hope so. Linking values to money as Maori, as Indigenous, looks a little bit like this. I'm just going to test my speaker. One moment. Hello, hello. Oh yeah, it's all working. Great. So linking money to being Maori, being Indigenous, goes a little something like this for me. How do I make money as an Indigenous woman? Being integrity with who I am, living my values. And this was the answer that I came up with. as I make money, do I help people rise and stand? Or am I standing on people as I rise? If I am making money and helping people to rise and stand and empowering them to rise and stand, then that's good money to make. If I am making money by standing on people that don't, that I don't deserve to be stood on, right? If I am standing on people to help myself rise and no one's rising next to me, then that's money you want to be looking at, sis. That's the kind of money that you want to be looking at going up to. Conscience. Is my conscience clean? If I am making money and it is helping people, sisters, brothers that I work with, stand in their truth, take up space, and rise, then that's good money, honey. Now, what is good money, honey, is going to be a process for us to figure out. So your peoples are letting you know what's good money. If you are charging exorbitant fucking prices and people aren't paying them, or you can't even sell it because it's so exorbitant, then you're going to have a problem. If your people are giving you that feedback that it is, it's, if people are like eating noodles and like taking out loans just to work with us, then that ain't good money, honey. So it's about being ecological as we make our money and knowing, if we're helping people rise, and not just from our imagination, like you can actually feel the vibes, you can actually see the difference in somebody's quality of life, then absolutely, like, make your money. Now, this is because we must create our own resources. We have to create our own resources. Because there's something that I'll go into later, which is like we're going to either be resourceful or we're going to be in reliance. Now, one of my sisters just put up a post about Afterpay being like the ultimate act of self-colonization. So true. You are then reliant on a system, like you've got something, but now you are reliant, you're sucked in, which then sucks your self-esteem. It's all set up. It's designed, it's systemically designed to suck you in and fuck you up, like fuck up your self-esteem and keep it fucked up, so we've got to really like think about that stuff as well. We've got to think, nothing is for free, y'all. Nothing is for free. You either get, there's interest with everything. There are somebody else's interests in everything if it's for free. So that's another reason why I'm just thinking, like, that's another reason why it like doesn't always pay to do free programs and free things and like everything for free. Because I'm just having a whole wānanga here at the moment. But it's like, let's be real. Because I even said the other day, like, I'm going to give everything out for free online, which is what I'm doing here. Like, this is, yes, to a degree, I'm giving out like this knowledge for free. You have to sit your ass there and watch it, listen to it, connect with it, embrace it, have a cup of tea with it, and you'll get the wisdom, So there is an exchange there, here. And then we'll probably chop this content up and put it out on YouTube, Instagram and stuff like that, and repurpose it. But if I hold workshops, they're not going to be free, because that's, there are resources involved with holding those things, and that's my time and energy, where I could be spending that time with my whānau. So I'm going to charge for those. There's going to be a cost. If you want to work with me one-on-one, to stand with you and guide you and walk over the mountain and like walk into the cave and slay the dragons with you, there is going to be a cost for that. But if you can't come to an event, or you can't work with me one-on-one for whatever financial reason, then you need to get your ass on YouTube and watch all the stuff. Okay. So it's like you do what you need to do until you can do what you want to do, right? Or is it, in order to do what you want to do, you need to stop doing what you're doing? Anyway, so yeah, like we must be resourceful. We must be resourceful, yes. Otherwise we'll be reliant, yeah. And the last piece that I want to talk about as being Indigenous in business is that for me, like, and I've got 14 years experience in selling, but sales is gone, services in. And I mean, I'm still gonna make money from being in service. It's just that word is gone because it carries too much. It's like the word coach is too much shit. It's too much baggage on it. It's too much baggage on sales as well. Sales is gone, services in. And the last point I want to leave us with is more, what for? And I wrote a post about this today. When we want more, we've got to like honestly take the time to ask ourselves, what is that actually for? What do you need more for? So for me, if I've like, as I'm like working from home, I have everything I need. Like I hardly go out anywhere. Unfortunately, I would like to go out somewhere, you know, but just my lifestyle, I hardly like do stuff, so I don't need a whole lot. But when I know I've got a market coming up and I need resource, you know, like I need to buy this and that to be able to like do the market, to sell the earrings and like be out there in community, then I know I need resources. And those resources I trust will come. When I want to put up, like run a retreat or do an event, and it's solid, then I know I need resources and they will come. But other than that, when I'm just working from home, you know, having dinner at home, because I don't all that much like eating out, what the fuck do I need millions of dollars for? Right now. Now, as my desires grow, like maybe one day I'm like, you know what? I want to teach people. I want like, I don't know, like as my desires grow and I will need more resources, fine, more resources will come in. But this is when I got thinking, you know, what's up with the world and the state that we're in is because people are out here wanting more all over the place. I'm like, I want less. I want less people in my house. I want less people. I want to talk to less people, but the people I want to talk to, I want to talk to them more, you know, but I want to talk to less people, you know. I want to see less people. I'm a 2-4 projector. You know, I want to see people less often, but I love seeing people, you know, that's that 2-4 energy. Yeah, less is more. And that's something the mind will never tell us, or never care to admit. But anyway, this has been good for our first jam. So looking forward to jamming with you more often. I really want to do these on a Monday. I just didn't get around to it on the Monday, so it's Wednesday now. But yeah, I'm feeling like Mondays I want to put these videos out, because Mondays is kind of when like I've had all this time to like, you know, really just like into my being, and all these ideas come up, and yeah, like they start swirling. But to be honest, they'll be done when they're done. But let's just say between Monday and Wednesday, yeah, a new episode will be in. But yeah, this was cool. This was awesome. Catch you soon.